Good morning, guys. Welcome to my Monday morning rant for Monday, the 28th of June, 2021. It's been a pretty intense week and intense on social media, my favorite place to hang out. I did the typical me thing and decided to do a bit of shit stirring last week. And honestly, I think that's what I'm best at. I think throughout all the years of running different online communities, my job has always been to get the conversation going and to get people voicing their opinions, whether they're right or wrong. I've never truly been the judge. I'm sort of the person that throws the grenade in the room, opens the can of worms, and it was one night that I was on social media and I'd had a few drinks, and that's always danger hour for me, or the hour of power, whichever way you want to look at it, really. But I had a few drinks, and the monster or the moron came out of me, and someone was talking about COVID, and then someone was talking about, oh man, if only more people got the vaccine, and we'd be in a better place. Nothing wrong with that. I actually agree with it, but in the mindset that I was in at the time, I just thought, fuck that, I'm not going to be a guinea pig. And so I wrote that, full of attitude and quite aggressive. And what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with A, asshole. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the right word, but I'm arrogant. But I wrote it, and then I went to bed. And that's usually the way it goes. Next day, I saw a whole lot of people. The guy who I commented against, he's a guy I know actually, and he says all sorts of shit. And this is the funny thing, right? Like the people who are actually good people that are trying to get more people, inspire more people to get vaccinated, they're after something good, but in doing so, sometimes they just become total assholes themselves. He was there wishing that I should maybe try COVID or maybe try polio or some other fucking virus that has been vaccinated in the past. And that's the thing. And I even got just that kind of like going from one end where you're actually trying to do good and help others to then wishing someone ill. It's pretty hypocritical, and it doesn't make much sense to me. And if you're going to be trying to unite people in helping the world with taking the vaccine, then that's not really probably the best way to inspire people, is by threatening them. But hey, each their own, right? Fuck. So the next morning, I thought I'd take a screen grab of my stupid outbreak the night before, and I was honest about it. I didn't want to fucking cut bits out, so I screen grabbed it. But then I wrote my bit when I was, in the morning, I'm sober, and I wrote my bit, and my bit was that I am all for people getting the vaccination, right, and the vaccine. I'm all for it, but what I don't like is seeing this trend of people who are getting it and then putting pressure on people who are still sitting on the fence. I am not in any way anti-vaccine, anti-vac, or whatever they're calling it. It's just that I'm fucking scared to get it. And I don't feel like I've done enough research. I mean, the government's not making it mandatory, so that means I have to do my own research. And I just haven't done it. And in many ways, I wish it was mandatory. Because then, if it is meant to be a good thing, and you need a majority of people to fucking have it, then if the government made it mandatory, then it would happen. But if the government's not making it mandatory, then you're giving people choice. And while choice is a pretty good thing, in my opinion and my views, not everyone can make a choice very easily in life. Like, people struggle with the simplest choices. And getting a COVID vaccination isn't a simple choice to a lot of people. Probably. I mean, it's not to me. So yeah, I posted up a little thing saying that I'm just not into the pressure the idea of people pressuring people. I mean, I think the idea would be to inspire people to get the shot, and instead of trying to pressure them. And man, that thing fucking went off. Like, it was just pinging all day. Like, if I have a look at it now, uh, I'll, the amount of comments it got was more than what I've been getting on topics that I've been starting on. And by the way, this is my own personal Facebook page um, that I posted this on. It had 100 comments. 100 comments. And you know what? Out of the 100 comments, like, usually when I do shit stir, I try to bring out some constructive discussion. There was so much shit in that. Out of the 100 comments, there's just so much shit in there of, like, you've got extremities. You've got people who are pro-vaccine and people who are anti. And both of them are quoting sources and saying that their sources are more legitimate than the others. And then you've got finger pointing going on as well. A shit ton of people finger pointed at me for being an anti-vaxxer when I've never once said that I was anti-vax. So, it just turned out to be a huge mess, and it just further put my point in concrete for me, in that I feel like this vaccine has really split people, just like politics did. You know, when you saw that whole, like, Biden versus Trump thing going on, it's like America was split in two. Anyone who was a Biden supporter hated Trump supporters, and vice versa. And they were all Americans in my eyes. So it's just super sad when politics just fucking divides people, you know, instead of uniting people. So it's exactly what happened on this forum post Facebook post that I made. People just forgot to respect each other. People forgot to be kind to each other, and instead people were going at each other for differences of opinion, and based on people's research, they thought that they were right and the other party was wrong. And people were so black and white about it. And it's super sad to me. It's a super sad state. Like, I got a couple of death threats. I got a death threat, wishing that I get COVID and die a slow, painful death. Again, that's probably coming from someone who's pro-vaccination, and the idea of being pro-vaccination is that you want to save yourself and your loved ones and the rest of the world, right? So I don't know where all that love went when you're fucking wishing someone death. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I find it all super sad. But hey, it was a day of popcorn out. I had no idea why it went off the way it did. I think a lot of it has to do with my language in the post that I made the night before, in that I was aggressive. I put it through F-bombs in there. And again, that's what I do. I am not complaining about the hate that I got, because a little bit of hate is warranted in order for me to sometimes pierce through. And sometimes the fuck word just does it, right? Like, sometimes you say the word fuck and people listen. So fuck it, you know? I said what I needed to say. Sadly, what came out of it, out of the 100 comments, there's probably only like a handful of people who are calm and collected and left some really good constructive posts in there that have made me encouraged me more to get this vaccination, which is 100% on the cards for me. I'm just sitting tight. I'm sitting on the fence for now because there's a new strain out. We're in lockdown right now because of this new strain. I'm hoping that they address this new strain with the vaccination, a modified vaccination or something. So I just think it's early days. And I would like to sit tight a little bit longer and see what's going on with this vaccination and whether it changes or not as we go along. So yeah, let's skip on to the next thing. So yes, we are in lockdown. It is like day 2 or day 3 or something like that. It's the whole of Sydney now. Um, I'm already seeing social media posts from people that are freaking out about um, going crazy over spending a week at home alone. Um, Man, you people who are thinking like that just have to realize that, like, if you are happy with yourself, that you'll be fine. You'll be just fine. Like, love and respect yourself and learn how to live with yourself, and your life will just be so much easier. I spent a shit ton of time home alone, and I love it. I love it. I find that the only distractions I have are the ones that I choose, rather than you know, I don't know. I don't feel like I need to keep myself busy in order to to avoid feeling like I'm going crazy. Um, hey, but then again, I'm fucking crazy, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, like seriously, everyone who's panicking about spending time alone, like I think it's a really good time for you guys to just learn to live with yourself, and learn to work on the things that you have always wanted to work on, but you felt like you never had enough time to work on, you know? Now you've got the time, so you don't have any more excuses. Just spend that time wisely. Um, Another thing, yeah, I got one more photo shoot in just before lockdown with Abby Cremalicious, and went all the way out to her place out in the sticks again. Um, Literally, lockdown was the day after, so I'm glad I got that shoot in. She's going to be on Netflix on some kind of crazy like elimination modeling show. Um, and she's kind of panicking about what kind of personality does she want to choose to be on this show. But she's a crazy one. So I just hope that she just lets loose, and she will definitely come across some adversity in that show. I think some people will not be able to handle her. How loud she is and how nutty she is. But I think then again also I think the people watching the show will love her a lot. So yeah, I'm rooting for her. I think she starts filming that show in the next couple of weeks or so. I forget what it's called. I watched a little bit of the last episode and I was like, oh my god, it's super cringe. But hey, who knows? Maybe there's new producers. Maybe there's more budget. Maybe they'll do a bit better than they did last time. So yeah, that was the last photo shoot. I've had to literally postpone 4 shoots this week. So I won't be shooting. I do have enough content for Patreon, especially with Abby's shoot. But it's a bit sad because I was really on a roll there for a while with shooting, and so I won't be shooting this week. I thought about like trying to do like a remote shoot, but I just think that's just not going to work. So I'm just going to chill. And yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to rant about this morning was I have been spending more time on Reddit in the past year or so. And like Reddit was a place that I was always on, especially for gaming subs. But it was just such a negative cesspool, especially the gaming subs, right? Like every motherfucker in there is super negative, and they're like, because you're kind of you're anonymous, right? You don't have to put your name to it, so you can just pile on other players or other community or the games developers. You could just absolutely hammer those guys without any kind of consequence, you know. So I've always been quite scared to post on Reddit, but yeah, I've been really getting into it. And a few months back, I had a run-in on the official Reddit Boudoir subreddit with one of the moderators, who happened to be a female moderator who shoots all of that sort of what is it? LBTQ? I don't even know what it is, but it's like trans, gay and lesbian couples, and She does really obese people, and she does boudoir, but in that kind of genre, I would say. And she's very much feminist and all about empowering women and all that. And it looks like ever since she's been a moderator on boudoir, that boudoir is just dying in the ass, man. That's what it really looks like to me. She deleted 2 of my photos a few months back, and when I asked why, she was like, well, her legs are spread. I mean, I'm talking about like a photo of Viv with her clothes on, and one of her legs are up, and she's staring down the barrel of the lens, right? And that's what I do, right? Like, I love it when a girl's got clothes on, she's got a more sexual pose going on, but her face is in focus, her eyes are in focus, and she's commanding that you look at her. And I find that really empowering. But she said that post was far from empowering, and that I better have a good reason for focusing on her crotch, and that was not right because the focus was on Viv's face, not her crotch. Oh, anyway, I had to go with her in public, and especially how she responded, which was super aggressive. And she came out of the woodwork and apologized, and that was great. And that was that. We have never had a run-in since then. But I hopped on the boudoir subreddit the other day, and I saw that there was a pinned post by the moderators asking for feedback because they've got 40,000 followers, but there's hardly any constructive stuff going on. And I think they really wanted to try to head in a direction of focusing on the art and profession of boudoir, and they were hoping for maybe more boudoir photographers and models to converse in there and contribute in constructive ways, as opposed to, the typical Reddit, a whole bunch of like horny guys that just want to fap over like hot chicks, right? So I get that, but her, let me just see, turns out she had pinned a post asking for feedback. I didn't know it was her. I just thought it was literally another one of the moderators. I had no idea it was her until later on, until even after I commented. But her post title was Mod Post. Provide your feedback here, you filthy bastards. And I literally, I thought it was one of the male mods that posted that. And I was shocked to find out that it was her. This woman that like screams for equality. And yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? Because what I replied was that, like, you got 40,000 fucking members. You've pinned a post asking for feedback, and she only had 6 responses to it. And there's something fucking wrong with that. And I'm like, maybe labeling your audience as filthy bastards wasn't the right tact. Like, surely not all 40,000 of the followers are men, for starters. So you're calling women filthy bastards as well. And, probably not all of them are filthy bastards. I would say a huge portion of them are actually boudoir photographers or boudoir models. So considering boudoir is meant to be a very overtly classy thing and all about the art, I just don't understand how this moderator who promotes the business and profession of boudoir could just label her audience, her 40,000 strong audience, as filthy bastards. So yeah, I responded. I did not get a response from her, which is not surprising. I haven't been banned yet, which is surprising. But the good that came out of that was that a guy who took over that subreddit when it had 10,000 followers grew it to 37,000 followers. So he's done the bulk of the work. He had dreams for that subreddit, and he worked his ass off on it by the sounds of it. But he got to a point where this guy ran out of time. So he found these new moderators that he now no longer sees eye to eye with. So he's gone and created his own private subreddit about boudoir photography called Boudoir Professionals. And it's a subreddit that's full of professional boudoir photographers as well as professional models. So he saw the post that I wrote critiquing the filthy bastards thing, and he sent me a message to agree that he doesn't believe the direction that the mods are taking the subreddit in is to his liking, and he doesn't agree with it, and he invited me over to his private subreddit, and I just took that as a win. Like, I would love it if the mod responded with what whether she thinks I'm right or wrong, and whether she could maybe fucking get a head on, screwed on straight, and fucking delete the filthy bastards bit. But no, the filthy bastards title is still up there as of today, as of this morning. Anyway, it's a bit of a win-win for me. Just to be invited to a professional circle, and being on that professional circle's already been awesome. I've already posted a couple of photos and gotten some constructive feedback from it. So I feel like I'm going to be able to share more of not just sharing my photos, but actually sharing concepts, and the reason behind the photos, as opposed to just sharing a photo. My God, I didn't even drink my coffee before starting this one today. All right, guys. So that is it for this week. I edited those photos with Abby way too quick. I did them over the weekend, so I have no more photos to edit. But hey, that's more guitar time for me. And I do feel like I'm going to put a bit of love into some of my social stuff, my social circles. I'm going to try to blog a bit more, write a bit more. I did get invited last night to a podcast with one of those life coach kind of people, or he coaches life coaches. And I did spend like a couple of minutes checking out his stuff this morning, but it just all smelt so bad of like that Tony Robbins style, but like making money, making millions, making $1 million in a year, and you got to pay for his course to make that kind of money, and it just smells bad. I think they would be using me as opposed to the other way around. He really wants people to use his network and come on the podcast and talk about your business and your concept and your ideas and reach my audience by coming on my podcast. And I'm just like, I wouldn't mind hopping on there just to stir the pot and like cause a whole lot of trouble. And he's probably got a shit ton of podcasts all lined up with all sorts of businessy entrepreneurial types, but then he probably wouldn't prepare for me so well. So then if I was on there like throwing F-bombs and like trying to ask him questions as opposed to him asking me, and like all this shit about him wearing that shitty suit that he's wearing and like in that office setting, and like trying to be this sort of guru of some sort, and like trying to help people make money, and like putting all your importance on money and all that, and all your life value on making more money and all that shit. Like, I probably would love to shit stir with him for half an hour or so. But yeah, I should probably just leave him alone. There's a place for people like that, and I understand people who fall into that trap of like paying someone to teach them how to make millions make $1 million in a year and whatever. Maybe some people just got to go through it to realize that it's just not going to fucking happen. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Have a good week, as best a week as you can. Honestly, I have so many mates that just complain about their days at work. They fucking hate work so much. They go to work and come home and fucking complain about it. So hey, you don't have to work for a week. Maybe you work from home. Like, maybe it's going to be different. So I hope everyone does have a really fucking good week. I shall catch you guys in the next one. See yous.